So we're going to look at transformations and translations. Now this comes up a heap. This comes up all the time. It's really important we understand this. But the big hint is that it's easiest when it's in this form. And that doesn't change whether it's a quadratic, whether it's a cubic, whether it's a exponential, whether it's logarithmic, whether it's a square root. Whatever the type of function, if we get it in this form, it's nice and easy. Why is it nice and easy? Because I can automatically see my horizontal shift. How do I know where my horizontal shift is? What value tells me about my horizontal shift? H. So H tells me about and we call that how far to move it left or right. It's called the horizontal shift. What do I have to be aware of? We've spoken about this, but what do I have to be aware of? If I had x minus 2 squared, how many units have I moved it and in which direction? X minus 2 means I've moved it how many units? 2, and to the left or to the right? I heard different answers there. Is it to the left or to the right? So, to the positive, which is to the right, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right.
It is 2 units to the right. If it was x plus 2, then it is 2 units to the left, correct? So the misconception is often around the negative sign. It is attached to the formula. So if we see a negative sign, H is actually positive. If we see a positive sign, then H is actually negative. Cool? And it's only for H that we have to apply that. K tells us what? Thank you, Ruby. What do you think? What do you reckon?
I don't know.
Have a guess. If H tells us how far we moved it left or right, what do you reckon K tells us? How far up or down? What do we call that? Very good. If K is positive, we're moving it up, and if K is negative, we're moving it. I can't spell vertical, it's one of my curses. I know that I can't spell it, I just don't know what the right version is. And the last value, A. What does the A value do? A dilates and does something else. Reflects. Now we're going to talk about the situation in which x is negative. So let's say, I'll just do this first and we'll talk about it, I won't confuse you. So what does A value do when I say dilate? What does that mean? So stretches it up. So if A is 2, I'm pulling my graph up like so. Cool, I'm making it more vertical than it was before. If A is greater than 1. If A is between 1 and 0, what am I doing? Squashing it. Yep. So squash if A is greater than 0 but less than 1. And what about if A is negative? What's going to happen? It's going to flip, turns into a sad face, doesn't it? Cool? And that's the same for pretty much everything. Now thankfully with our quadratics, a negative x value, we'll talk about later. I don't want to confuse you. There's a lot of information. Just leave it there. Are we happy with that? Can you see why it's a lot easier if it's in this form? Because we can automatically see translation, up or down, left or right, and how stretched it is, whether it's reflected or not. What should we do if it's not in this form?
Put it in that form.
Pardon?
Put it in that form.
Yeah, we can put it in that form. There's a few techniques we can use, but we should be able to get most of them. Cool? Let's get going on education perfect, and then I'll hopefully only touch base once more.